All right. Hello, everyone. I am excited for today's stream. I decided I'm going to do things a little different today. I wanted to work on some tooling. I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of insight to how some of the things that I do, how it works, and just a little bit more about how I work. So a lot of things I do are like just trying new things and seeing if things are useful, if they stick, if there's things that people would like. And I just like to experiment a lot. And a lot of times when experimenting, it's nice to play around with the IDE and actually tweak the tooling some. So today I'm going to jump into a couple things I did in the past, and we'll play with that a little bit, and then we'll look at moving it towards just something new that we can play with now today. Um, so let's jump in and start playing with some code. So as I mentioned, I'm gonna do a couple things with extending the IDE. And I also want to play with forms, some of the form source code, and look at an old branch that I created a long time ago. Before I switch, let me get the right project up. So let me start by introducing an old branch on forms. Loading up the Xamarin.Forms repo right now. Did I see an alert go by and I didn't notice? No. Okay, sorry if I missed one. I didn't get the weird noises like I normally do. All right, so Xamarin.Forms solution is loading up. I am using the preview version of of Squirrel. So I'm using the early version of Visual Studio for Mac with the new editor, just because it's fun and I really like it. This forms that I'm working on is called Preview or Test. It's something I built a while ago. I was really interested in doing a Skia-backed renderer for forms. I thought it'd be fun and do some interesting things with it. I like how it's just instant and it's just really fast and performant. But building a full back end when you're dealing with text shaping and things like that, it's not something that I could feasibly do in a decent amount of time. Come on, finish loading. But it was still something that I wanted to play with that was really fun to build and had some cool use cases. Okay, yay, we're done restoring packages. It looks like we can run this thing. And inside of here, there's this thing called a preview or Mac. What it does was just the way that I was testing out my Skia backend. It's just really nice to have something to iterate over. And if I press play on this, it should build. I hope. I haven't built this in a couple days. I just merged everything in from the latest forms. And so we're on the latest version of forms. Run, it's building. I did make a couple modifications to the form source code to do this. For the most part, I was able to do it without any changes, but I did add a new class in there. I'm trying to remember where that's at. It'll be inside of the forms. Actually, it's inside the XAML stuff. That's where I added that. If we go into the XAML, I added a new class in here called unknown view. What this unknown view does is it allows me to, if you're trying to parse XAML and it doesn't know about things, and it's like, hey, I can't find this class, XAML parsing blows up. Oh, why am I building this for the iPhone? I bet it's actually building the iPhone apps as well. I'm building a lot right now. It's all right. The next few builds will go faster. But what I have in here is this unknown view. I just take the namespace and the class name. These get filled out during parsing if I find all references. And this only shows up if you're in design time. There's a flag you can put forms into to make it into design mode and design time, so that way it knows it's running in a different state. All right, so what it does, it lets you just play with some XAML and it practices parsing XAML. And if I type in something in there, go to this kitchen sink thing, if I change this activity indicator to activity indicator 2 or 1, it tells you, hey, I have no idea what this is, activity indicator 1. So, and as I was saying, if I search through and see all the other things, so it has the one to where it fills it out and says, hey, this is what that stuff is. And then it also had one other, oh no, it's looking in the wrong back end. It's looking in the back end. So it also does one other thing just to make sure that like the properties as it's applying it, if you set a property to something it doesn't always, it's not going to blow up as well. Only in design time. So it just helps to make it to where you can do interesting things with it. Now, this is cool and all, and I had fun playing with it and building it, but it's not that useful. I can't write XAML without IntelliSense. I'm horrible without it. So one of the things that I wanted to do today was kind of build a little extension that ties into this. And I did a little bit of the plumbing first. Oh, actually, sorry, I just moved that off screen. I'm not used to. I normally offset this so it's just on the other side of my browser. I mean, sorry, on the other side of my IDE so I can see just the code part. But if I do that, you can't see it. So I'll need to be smart about that today. All right, so to do this, I did do a tad bit of the plumbing first. I did add, I'm going to do something with WebSocket, so I'm just going to add something into this really quick. And actually I had this ready. It's under, not that one. Find the right window. Which window was that? Actually, I don't have it ready. Let's jump into live stream, preview extension. Actually, I can just do that from here. Live stream, preview extension, preview whisperer. I'm horrible at names, but for some reason I liked that one. All right, so preview whisperer, this is very basic. All it is it has this iCommunicator that I just have its interface for communicating back and forth for sending messages. That's about it. And it also has some message stuff to actually deal with serializing and sending it back and forth. And I have a client that all it is it has a WebSocket under the hood. I'm using WebSocketSharp because it works really well cross-platform and everywhere I've tried it. So using WebSocketSharp, and I have a server that does the same thing. All it does is host things, and it just deals with the communication back and forth. So I can send messages and receive messages. Really simple. Okay, so let's jump into my preview thing. I'm just going to do a couple things to hook. Actually, I'm going to stop this. We're going to switch projects really quick. We are going to switch to the extension I started, and that'll make a lot more sense. Because if we start the extension, we start building out the extension, we can then debug that, which will launch a new Visual Studio, and then from there, we can edit both projects at once. All right, so this is a Visual Studio extension. They're really easy to build, at least the basic ones that I'm going to be building here today. And to do this, what I've done is if you go into the extensions, you can go into the gallery and add a thing called Add-in Maker. It's inside Extension Development. And once you do that, it gives you new templates for building an extension. Now, when you build the extension, it's going to be empty. These two classes don't exist. It will only have this add-in info.cs, which is how you give it its name and who built it, and the add-in manifest. These 3 lines were not there. I added these. So this is telling me, I'm telling Visual Studio that I'm adding a startup handler, and the startup handler's name, the class is preview extension startup handler. Really simple. So inside preview extension namespace, I have a thing called startup handler, and its subclass is command handler. Now, when it runs, it's just going to call the init for my little VS Mac manager. That's it. That's how you hook in, and now I am now connected and hooked into Visual Studio for Mac. I am using the old API. I'm using the mono develop API stuff. It is going to complain at me on here saying, hey, this isn't right because you should go use the new Roslyn stuff or the new Visual Studio Editor APIs. That's because on the current stable, you need to use these old APIs. On the current, or on the new one with the new editor, it's now going to use the Visual Studio APIs, which is really, really exciting. So I can use both for right now, but eventually I'm going to only be able to use the new ones. But the beautiful thing about that is if I use the new ones, it'll actually run on Mac and on Windows because the new editor shares all that code. So it's super exciting that soon we'll be able to easily make extensions that work on both. All right, so when this thing starts up, all I do is I create a new communicator and I say, hey, you're the server. So that way the other little Mac app I wrote will connect to the extension. And past that, I tie into the workbench and I say, hey, whenever the active document changes, fire this method. So that way I know what's going on. All right, and then whenever a new document shows up, I check if the document's null or not. If it is null, all right, never mind, move along. If it is not null, or if I have an old one that is null, yes, if current, okay, sorry, not if it's not null. So I check if that's the same as the existing one, I don't need to deal with it. If it's not, then let's kill out the old one. Let's unhook all my event handlers. Actually, that is funny, I'm plus equaling and I need to minus equal that. And so that way we're just tying into these things that way. Okay, perfect. And I also dynamically tie into the effect. So, and your extensions, you can share UI in both Xamarin.Forms. Yes, yes, you could. Great note there, David. All right. So now from this point on, I really only care about hooking into this thing if it's a XAML one, because I'm just going to be hooking into the XAML stuff because I want to just view my XAML stuff. All right. Past that, it's really, really, really simple. I have this method that I have that's called update XAML. What it does is it grabs the latest text and then it passes that on to the server. I also I get what the path of it is in case that's needed or useful, so you can say where the XAML came from. And that's the main thing here. I do hook up if the text changed. I tie into a key press, and then I do this key press method saying, hey, you pressed a key. And on this, I say, okay, search timer. This timer, what I want is I don't want to overload the server. And I don't want to just like send a bunch of requests and like constantly refresh really, really, really fast because that causes lots of issues and it just looks bad. And you can just overload things. So I have a 750 millisecond timeout. So as you're typing, if you stop for 750 milliseconds, it'll automatically send it over. But I also did tie into, you'll notice I tied into the document saving. So if you save, it'll instantly send. And I just reset the timer as you're typing, so that way when that thing finally fires, it will update. And that's it. All I'm doing is grabbing the text from the editor and sending it across a server under certain conditions. And of course, I unhook and make sure that I'm being a good citizen and unhook my events so I'm not causing issues. And on the key press, is that where I hook in? Where did I hook into the text changed? I missed that. Oh, I wait until the document is ready. So after parse, that's when I hook into the text change, just to make sure I'm not, that way it's hooked up right. All right, perfect. All right, so this is the extension. Now what's cool is I can put breakpoints in here, and I can just say, okay, let's debug this thing. And if I debug it, it will launch a new Visual Studio for Mac. And you are now using 2 of them, and the memory usage is going to go up, fair warning, but it's really exciting now to be able to just be debugging my extension inside of Visual Studio for Mac. It is launching. Said it goes a lot slower since I am doing 2 instances. The whole inception thing is always fun. And once it's up, oh, Startup Manager. Let's press next. Also in here, did I do this right? I also want to make sure that we're not sending stuff on this thread. I think this send message, does it do a task.run? I can't remember. We might want to task.run that. Yeah, it's not. We're going to task.run that, and we'll just do that once we stop. I don't want to be doing this on the main thread because if you're doing this on the main thread, guess what? You're locking up and your editor is going to look slow and it's just not going to be fun. You're not going to want that. All right, so let's load Xamarin.Forms, one of the largest Xamarin projects there is, inside of a second IDE. This will be great for memory. I can't get that to line up right. All right. Sorry, it's the best I can line it up. I think it's right. And now we can do this, we can bring it over. Now let's put a breakpoint into our other instance. I just want a breakpoint in here for when the update fires, and we can just see where that's going along. Okay. Let's click here. Let's open up a XAML now. Any XAML file will do. I have a XAML file. There's got to be a XAML file in here somewhere. Pages. Hey, I found a XAML file. If I open up this events page, I get a breakpoint over in this one. Hey, we just opened something up. Really, really exciting. Perfect. And it's throwing an exception because nothing's listening, but it doesn't crash because I try catch everything. At least I hope I do. Yeah, it looks like it's still going. And the other one's still locked up. Not breaked. Okay, I may have... Oh, no, I did not try catch that stuff. Okay, let's fix this. My extension is far from complete. I quickly wrote it right before just to make sure I knew what I was doing. Okay, so we have our communicator here. We're going to have a send send message, and just going to actually we'll just do it in here. There's no need for a second thing right now. So try catch. And I can't remember what the extension I throw, but for now we're just going to swallow those. Fine. I'm not actually catching it. Let's catch it. Okay. So we're just going to swallow that for right now. Try catch. Why is it complaining about that? This hasn't updated. Oh, I need to actually say an exception. Hello, President Krab. Thank you for, or Krub, I don't know how you say it. Thank you for following. Hopefully this is enjoyable for you. All right, so now we're going to catch those exceptions. We're just going to swallow them. We don't care. I'm also going to, you know what? Let's just do tempted. We're just going to throw this in a test.run. And we're not going to await it, so we're not going to get that exception anyway. Easiest way to swallow an exception, just throw that thing into a test.run. Now, that should never happen. So this should actually never fire because we're just going to swallow those exceptions. Okay, well, let's run that again. Writing beautiful production code here, guys. Spaceballs, I get it now. I love that movie. It's been on my iPad for me to watch on one of my trips, and I just haven't done it yet. Need to rewatch it. All right, so let's load forms again. And this time what we'll do is we're just going to hook into that server, then we'll debug this one, make sure those messages are going back and forth. First, I'll try opening one without, and it should just not care and move along. Probably not going to freak out anyway. Okay, the other one's still loading. You'll notice it has a lot it needs to load, and doing that while debugging, it just slows things down. All right, XAML opened. You'll notice that it complained the server is not listening, but it didn't blow up on us this time. Or did it? Nope, it didn't. Okay, so we're working now. All right, so let's close that XAML. Wow, this is slower than I'm used to. When we switch to doing this, not debugging Xamarin.Forms, it will be a lot faster. Xamarin.Forms is giant. Thank you. Wow, I can't pronounce these names today. Magalution, I think. I'm the worst at pronouncing things. Thank you for joining this madhouse. Let's go, previewer, or Visual Studio. Like I said, debugging. Maybe I shouldn't debug this solution. All right, I'm going to stop because this solution is crazy. If I did it using the gMusic app we've been testing on, I've done that and it's just fine. But debugging Xamarin.Forms it's so many projects. Too many. All right, so we're just going to jump over here. We'll go to this. We're going to go to Xamarin.Forms. We'll load that up and let's hook into our events going back and forth. And at that point, we should be able to hopefully preview things. And I actually want to edit and move this thing along. You know, we're going to jump ahead. And I'm just going to build that extension and hope it works and not debug it. If you go into that solution, oh, yeah, I know there's optimized solutions, but I just always open the big one. I don't know. I'm weird like that. And it has my stuff already added. So I should open one of the smaller ones. But I'm going to run the VSTool. It's inside of Visual Studio app / contents, macOS. There's a VSTool thing. If I say setup pack and tell it the DLL extension, or the DLL for that extension I just built, it will build this thing into an MPack. I think they're still called MPacks. Yeah, MPack. So now I have an MPack. And with an MPack, I can go into extensions here, and we can install that extensions right into our one browser, so we don't need two. I mean, one Visual Studio. So I can say install from file. Let's jump over preview extension, then debug. So this was the folder I ran that MPack, and I just ran it. Okay, 1 second, let me type in passcodes. All right, we're back. I like how it error reported because like, oh no, I lost this one. That was the one that crashed. Which one of them crashed on me? It's all right, we sent the error report on. Let's reload that again. Try again. Yeah, VSTool is hidden there. It's sad that it's hidden so far in. It'd be nice if we didn't have to even call that. It'd be nice to have it built into the tooling so we can just say build, but one day we'll get there, right? All right, so let's load up Xamarin.Forms again. And actually, I should have installed that extension. Make this window the right size. I forgot its size. Should probably not open all those windows again as well. All right, so let's Visual Studio extensions. We're just going to install my extension and hope it works. I think I fixed the last of the bugs. Can you drag into this window? I think I can. Nope. I'm gonna have to browse to that manually. Oh, that actually is what caused the crash. Uh-oh, found a crash. All right, so we're going to manually do this again. It does not like that. Note to self, don't do that. Note to any of the VS guys watching, if you want to file that, it'd be great. If not, I will when I'm done with this. Once again, guys, I am using preview software. Live life on the edge, why not? YOLO when you code. And it helps us fix all the bugs before it gets out to everyone else. Okay, so let's try installing this extension again. That path is really deep. I don't like that. Actually, let's copy it to the desktop because the desktop is easy to get to. All right, so I just copy that to the desktop. And now we can install that. And yes, I want to install that. Yay, my extension is installed, I think. Wait, what? Oh, I was messing with things. That doesn't look right. Okay, we might not be installing. Why is it weird? I have something. I don't know what's going on there. All right, it's installed. So now I should be able to jump into my preview view. I'm just going to throw it into the view because there's only one of them. Yeah, debugging VS Max is add maker. You don't have to manually pack install the extensions. Yeah, that's how I've been doing it. That's what I was showing here. It's just when I was doing that with Visual Studio for Mac, when I was doing that with the Xamarin.Forms solution, it was so big that my machine can't handle doing it twice. So that's how I normally do it, but this solution's giant. All right, so we're going to add in. I already added it in here. I jumped in and added this in here, the preview whisper. Did I add the reference? I don't think I did. Projects, let's add preview whisper, perfect. So now using preview whisper, all my code syntax highlighting, missing stuff. All right, so we're just gonna say I communicator, and inside this initialize, we'll just do a void set up. That way we can just turn this thing off, and I spelled that wrong, but oh well. All right, so we're going to set this up. What we'll do is we will say communicator equals new server, and it's just going to default to the ports. You can override that, but good enough for now. Communicator. So we're just going to say on connected. Console.writeLine connected. That way we can see that. And then we'll do something for the messages really quick. I just want to make sure this is working. Communicator.on message received. Wow, that just scrolled up fast on me. Okay, console.writeLine. I can't remember what those values are. That is going to be, oh, it's just an action, so it's a message. So I don't even, it's not this as well. I love actions. I use actions all the time. So this is just going to be that, and this is going to be message. All right, get my own API, say right. All right, so we've got that. Not console.writeLine. Message dot, I think I called it data. That'll be the XAML. No, communicator dot connect. No, isn't there? There's got to be a connect method or a start or a. I did not expose that. That's really funny. Maybe I. Oh no, the connect. This thing auto connects. I think. I'm almost positive I made it. And this is not a server. This is a client. I think in here I make the client auto connect. No, I didn't. Did I? Okay, create one. How did I not expose that? That's, oh, because connect doesn't necessarily need that. So we're not going to do this as that. We're just going to say for now, it is client, and that way I can just tell it to connect. Did I make it async? Oh, dot connect. And I need the string URL, and I think I put it to where the server has it as a. Thought I had that as a default. All right, well, we're just going to grab that and connect to it. Expose that on the server so that way I can, yeah, let's do that really quick. So server public const string well, I just have to set it. Perfect. Now we'll set this here. Oh, I should close that string. All right, so now I have the default URL. So now I'm not hard coding things. Server dot, oh, default URL. Perfect. And this is async. So let's do that. All right, so now we should connect, I hope. We can debug it if not. But if my extension loaded, it should have opened that connection and now should have something waiting and listening. So we'll run this one. Let's hope this works. I did call. Okay, we didn't get a connection. Okay, so it's saying it cannot connect. Connection refused. That means the server did not start. My extension auto load. Now if I can remember where it went under. Preview extension, it's on. Okay, so let's just, I wonder if I have to quit and then reopen it since it didn't get that startup, since the develop IDE was already loaded. We'll try that. I bet that's what it was. It wasn't there when it started, so it couldn't get that startup notification. All right, we'll go back into Forms. One more try, and this should work, I hope. If not, we'll go back to debugging a Visual Studio instance. Once we get through a couple of these, we'll start playing with one other toy, and then we'll jump into some app building again. Okay. I heard a noise. Oh, what? Wrong computer giving me noises. All right, let's hope this connects. Now that communication, that client does have auto reconnect. It'll reconnect every 5 seconds, I think I have it set at. So. Run. I am checking notifications while that builds. So many notifications. going. It's still building. Why is that taking so long? It should be quick. Output. Still on iPhone. I should disable building half the stuff I'm building to speed this up. All right, well, let's hope this goes. I'm going to stop and start. See if it'll stop. All right, something really weird is going on. Of course, this worked when I was playing with this type of stuff earlier. Oh, now it says the build starting. And I just stopped it. So I didn't hook into anything that should have slowed that down. Let's close out of all these other things. Connects. And then we'll jump into playing with it. All right, canceled. So let's try it one more time. Faster. I wish you could will these things to go faster. It would be nice. Be really nice. Okay, yay, that's showing me stuff. Last time it just wasn't showing me things, so I thought it was stuck. And I'm just as impatient as the rest of you when I'm building my code. All right. As I was saying though, this is a branch that's available. Since I've done it, actually what people are saying. Yes, I agree. There should be a pack on build like you can with NuGet. That would be really nice just to pack it so it's really easy to ship them rather than having to find the tool and call it yourself manually. Okay, while that's going, I'm going to jump into this Skia backend thing I was playing with. So like I showed, I had that, I did have that, what's it called? Oh yeah, the unknown renderer thing. It just shows a thing. What I want to be able to do is, do I have this still up? No, I don't. It's going to jump into the Xamarin. Oh, hey, we're up. Okay, let's see if it's connecting. Why is it complaining? Okay, well, it's complaining. We're going to have to debug it the hard way. Let's go and uninstall that extension so I don't have two of them. Uninstall. Let's see what's going on. We are going to, actually first, let's just assume it's going to work. We're going to go this the fast way. We're just going to assume it's going to work. We're going to build it one more time, but we're going to hook in and actually fix this stuff. So what's this refresh do? Refresh tells it to reload everything. Perfect. All right, so inside of here on message received, var XAML equals message.date. I think it's, yeah, just message.data. We know that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this dot begin invoke on main thread. Since I'm in a Mac OS, begin invoke on main thread is on everything. These messages are not going to come through on the main thread. If I want this to update and show things, I need to do that. So XAML entry dot text. Actually, I should make string dot if. The message.data turn. We don't care. And now we'll also say this message has a type. We'll just leave it as that. It'll be fine. If it's data, it's only us coming across. So now we can say XAML entry.text. Oh, what is it? This thing, text storage. Text storage.value. Can I just set that? No, it's a get. Set. I think I have to set the string. It's an NS attributed string from, I remember how to make a new one of these guys. Can I just pass in a string? Hey, I can. Okay. Message.data. I think that's what I need to do. And then we'll call refresh. Now I'm just going to assume my code is magical. I'm building an Android Xamarin application. I cannot get in regular using web request from Name resolution's typically something wrong with internet, but looks like Bounty's jumping in to answer those questions. So yeah, that's typically your VM doesn't have internet or you're having something with routing with those. On a device, it should work if it has internet, but that's typically what that means. I use those classes all the time, so I know the underlying classes work. All right, so we have a text entry, we refresh it. Perfect. We're just going to build this one more time. Then we're going to jump over, debug from another instance of Visual Studio into gMusic, which is smaller and can definitely do it. Connection will just keep polling and trying to connect. Perfect, we can relaunch that. That was a much faster build. That's what I was looking for. All right, so let's jump back to our preview extension. Let's see if I forgot to do something to actually start it up, or my luck, I have a process somewhere else still hanging on that has that open. No, it still should have answered then. Oh well. We're going to jump into here. We're going to go into our manager, communicator. Maybe I didn't tell the server to start. That would be my luck. Does server have a start listening? Server's that. Yes, it does. I did not start the server. That is awesome. Communicator.start. Hey, I'm pretty sure it will work now. That's just how I go. Stream is lagging for you? I'm sorry. I was just saying most likely it's bad internet connection on the device you're using. Check if you can view it in Chrome on that device. All right, so let's try debugging this extension. We'll launch this. We will manually launch our XamarinForms one now. And previewer, nope, that's the Wii one. I always want to call it like OOUI or something, Ouya or something, ranking his names. All right, so Xamarin.Forms. We're going to jump into the previewer Mac. Okay, so we're going to launch the gMusic one since it is smaller. Now let's jump into the forms, previewer or bin, debug, previewer Mac. All right, so now we should be able to launch this and hopefully have them connect. Okay, now if this worked, if I open up my media item cell, hey, no, that's not the right text. It didn't work. Oh, it didn't launch over here though. It worked! It worked! Yes, text came over. That is really, really, really exciting. Let me make this window smaller so you guys can see what I'm doing here. That's really exciting. So whenever this thing happened, it sent the message over and voila, we have stuff. Now, this is a cell and it's kind of ugly and doesn't work. I made it to where I can switch form factors and I also added a little cell thing here that makes it stuck at 45 pixels high. Yay, perfect. All right, so there's a couple things that we haven't really been pushing, but it's in our current products right now. Design time data, which is the reason we're not pushing it is because you can't just, there's no IntelliSense for it yet, but it's in the current products. So if you add these little snippets here, I added them ahead of time because I can never remember them. I can just jump in, and if you have Xamarin.Forms set to design time mode, which is what this previewer does, I can just do d:\text equals now if I save it, hey, we're getting text. Text equals link 182. Nope, I know how to do their name. Come on. Ah. Now if I stop typing and wait, yep, about a half a second later it updates. Perfect. Now I wanted to toy with, now that we have that working, maybe we'll rebuild this extension and we will add it back in. So that's really exciting now. Actually, we'll just deal with debugging it this way. With this previewer, I wanted to now play with some cool things about this design time thing is, since with my renderer, I don't know how to draw what's going to be there. So I have a size set here, but I could do like actually let's debug gMusic and get an image really quick. So if I go to our media item cell, put a breakpoint right here, we run this, I can go and get a URL. So that way we can fill that in for the default image. Now my Skia renderer does not know how to handle this, so I would need to edit it to do that. I'd also like to play with doing this. You'll notice I had Frank's project We up there. I love that project. It's really cool. It's Xamarin.Forms web backend. I also toyed with playing with the same thing with that embedded in. Problem is my little renderer is far from complete. It looks pretty with certain things, and it can do lots of really cool things. Why do we have the background? I broke something, I guess. But I mean, it looks pretty good and it works okay. But oh, its size is really small. That's why. I don't clip things appropriately. See? More things I've done wrong. But I mean, it can render most things, but yeah, it doesn't do styles, doesn't do most things you'd expect, but gives you a nice little quick preview. And I want to make it to where I can do images. Oh, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was talking about We. And so We is a lot more complete. As I mentioned before, text shaping is really hard. So if I do something like this using We, it gets to use the web to do all the text shaping so I don't have to, which that's pretty cool. So that way it'll work better with right to left and left to right. Languages doesn't matter. So we might jump over to that to finish this out. But with that image, I was going to put that into here as I can now do X image source equals, oh, not X, I need to do D because it is design time. So now if I have that as a design time thing, it should parse appropriately over here. I did not, actually, let's really quick fix this cell. It's kind of ugly. I've always had problems with, if we look at it live, it's too far over. I should move the breakpoint so it finishes updating. It just doesn't look right. I wanted to tweak that. So if I jump over here, we can tweak this a little bit. When I first made this on here, I think I need to do my padding. I'm trying to remember what I was changing on here. Oh, wrong cell. Helped be the right cell. So if I live do this, scoot this over so we can see it. We have our image. It's not the right image, but for an image, luckily it works. I think you pronounce it we. That's how I've always heard him say it. Maybe it's ooey. I have no idea. I can't pronounce it. It's funny. We'll have to have him pronounce it on his next podcast or something so we all know how to officially pronounce it. All right, so inside of here, I can change this padding. I think that's what I need to do is throw some padding, or is it margin? Margin equals 6. Okay, that smoothed that over. I don't think I need this padding here anymore, but I do want to do where's vertical options equals center. So that way my text is centered. Okay, it's we if you're being lazy. I'm lazy. Hey, my cell looks a lot better now though. I was able to quickly check that. Let's now run it inside of this. And the one I made for We, it actually looks a lot better than mine because I just spent, it wasn't hard. I didn't have to do all the drawing myself, so there's lots of things that look better in We. All right, so let's run that again. And hey, I like how those cells look. Those look really nice. All right, let's play with We. Now that we have a server going and this is working, let's see if we can do the same thing using We. All right, so I'll stop that other instance of Visual Studio. Actually, I shouldn't have stopped it. I should have just closed it. Oh well, we're going to stop and start. Why not? So let's load up We. Talking a little bit about what I've done with We, in order to make it work on Mac OS and iOS, I was actually playing with embedding We inside of an iOS app so that way it could host UI out. I couldn't use his built-in communication layer. His communication layer uses the .NET HTTP handler stuff, and the WebSocket stuff doesn't work there, which it doesn't recognize WebSockets. So I changed his stuff over to, is it in this one I did it? Fleck. Yes, so I switched to using Fleck. Fleck is a purely managed HTTP server that has WebSocket support. So I'm using that for his thing here. That's one of the only main changes I've made to his stuff. Past that, I created a new Xamarin Mac application called Preview. or previewer. And inside a previewer, I did do a view controller that has a web page. That's about it. Now I hooked into the Wii platform open browser to then do the web view load request from whatever he sends over. That's it. That's really all I had to do. So now inside of here, we can do, did I reference this? I haven't even added it yet. And this also has my nice new enhancement since I'm using the Xamarin.Forms source. It has the nice new stuff that I threw in there for the unknown view. So that way I can do unknown views appropriately without being too much of a headache. Jump to my live stream preview. Let's add the Whisperer in. Okay, we have the Whisperer. Let's add the reference. Let's not forget to connect this time. I need to put that into the interface. All right, so what we'll do here is client and all right, using preview Whisperer client. All right, yay. View did load. Worst place ever to start up this, but oh well. Client equals new client. Client. Oh, I need to tuck into all those messages again. We'll just do all message received equals. Okay, client dot. Actually, I did this. I was toying with this. I didn't want to do that here. This is not where I want to do that. This is just the shell. The shell has nothing in it. What I do is I have a XAML preview page, so I'm actually doing it in the Xamarin or the Xamarin.Forms side. This is, yeah, it's just gonna be presented using Wii. So we'll throw this into here. Inside of our editor page, I will throw this in here. So client, and this is seeing View Whisper again. We'll do, actually I put that in the wrong, yeah, that's fine. We'll put it there. So now inside of here, we're just gonna throw it right here. Actually, let's do it after everything. Oh, that's all created. That's all from XAML, we're fine. Client.connect server.default URL. Okay, perfect. That's there. I should probably just make that happen inside the constructor. That'd be way nicer. That default URL have that as a default parameter as well, so you just have to say connect. All right, so now inside of here, I will say editor.text equals message.data. And then does he have a refresh method? I can't remember. He does have a display XAML. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, perfect. So do that and then display the XAML. Okay, now on first run, this should work. I hope. He should have some XAML in here somewhere, I'd hope. Uh-oh. Oh, I need to add, right. So we need to add, which one? I have WebSocket, not showing up there. It's WebSocketSharp. I think there's multiples of them. I think it's the .NET Standard one. All right, so let's add this into the previewer. All right, I can just type this where I was thinking NuGet, WebSocketSharp. Okay, let's add that package. Oh, my font size. Right, every time I do a new browser, the font size is too small. Thank you for reminding me of that, Stephen. Bring this way up. I filed that bug and complained, but they'll fix it. They'll fix it. It doesn't save it when you change it. So every time I create a new one, it's going to have to do it. All right, so where was I? Right, adding the NuGet. Add package. All right, so now we need WebSocket. WebSocket. Oh wait. WebSocketSharp. Man. Okay, WebSocket. All right, WebSocketSharp, net standard. There we go. Add that in. Now let's build it again. Didn't blow up this time. Yeah, I can look at that code a little bit later, Luargo, but it's kind of off topic for what we're looking at now. Also, there's people in here that have great suggestions. Oh, perfect. So that's working. Should see something though. Question is, why am I not seeing something? Right, this does it on localhost. Didn't I, in the info.plist, I thought I changed that already. Info.plist source. Yeah, I had to add the security transport telling it that it's allowed to change or load non-secure non-secure content because we're doing this all on localhost, so it's not HTTPS. So I added that. Working. I just played with this. All right, one more time. So it is listening on 8088. It did do that right. It's doing that. Let's go to our view controller page. We'll put a breakpoint in the, oh, we already have it there. So on open browser, we'll do that. It should have worked. Okay, this is the right one. Okay. Let's jump into here and see if I'm doing something wrong. Breakpoint there. Put a breakpoint on all this thing setting up. Stop and start again. Okay, present the page. Load the URL. Okay, it never hits back. So something's going on with the request actually loading. Not getting an error, but it's showing me it did the gets here. I was not planning on bugging this live. Thought this would work. Okay, so our request, let's check this out. Localhost, let's copy this. We'll open this in a window here. Waiting. Oh wait, I gotta do the right one. Breakpoint load request. Chrome tools. Okay. Oh, what port am I waiting on in my other one? Am I using the same ports? That would be really, really funny. I am. We are using the same ports. Okay, let's fix this. Let's use like 8085 for this. So now this is going to use a different port. Using the ports, you can't actually do it. Is that what is used for website? So yes, Fleck. I'm pretty sure that's the one that I'm using for that. I'm using two different things. I have a question for the WebSockets. I am using WebSocketSharp. Now for we needs to host it has a whole HTTP server, and that HTTP server needs to support sockets. So I could write something to use WebSocket sharps for that, but Fleck does WebSockets over HTTP perfectly fine. So I'm actually using two different WebSocket things. Why not complicate it, right? But that's because of the Fleck made perfect sense, and it was really easy to swap it out with how Frank already had it architected. That's why I'm using that. All right, so let's run this now that I've changed some ports, and stuff should work. Oh, those ports. Okay, run this. Nice thing is, since it is just a web thing, I can actually view it here and use all the inspector tools to see what's going on. It's really, really nice. Not launched yet? Hey, it's working! Ports. Tell you guys, ports. Where's the right window though? Sweeky made it! All right, so let's see what's going on. I'm just gonna close. I have too many Windows open. It was confusing me. So let's run it again. We now have, oh, I've got breakpoints. Let's kill these breakpoints because that is killing us on other things. All right, breakpoints are gone. Now that we know what's going on, we have a previewer, which is showing us stuff. Again, I did that same little phone size picker. Yeah, nice. And this one, you can't really see it. Does zooming in on this work? Oh, that does. That is so cool. All right, so if I zoom way in, you do see these lines around it. So I actually drew the size so you can see what it looks like. But yay! So this is Frank. He has this XAML editor. You can go download Wii and play with it. He has a website version of it. It's really cool. His does not have the magical unknown view stuff that I added. So I did just add that. So if I say foo, I just do it as a gray box in this because I was too lazy to do all the rendering. But yay! So exciting! So now, let me get all of my windows right. I have way too many windows open. All right, let's move this over so we can see what's going on. So I think now that we've built this, if I open any XAML, I can find some XAML. There's got to be SAML somewhere. Sample platforms. Hello, XAML. Sample. Yay, okay. So now, if I open this one, yes! Success! We're now rendering it with Wii and using Wii as a quick little nice previewer there, which is really exciting. Wii's interactive where my Skia one wasn't. And a lot more things are filled out in Wii, so that's really fun to actually have it interactive and working and seeing it at your different resolutions. Joys of it being a web page is it is interactive, and you'll notice his actually properly clips things. So mine, I was like, where's my background? His shows you that. So that's really, really cool. So that's exciting. We've gotten somewhere. Now, if I want to use the other one, I need to rebuild it. Yay, that was fun. I'm really excited I got that working. And figured out my port issues. And just switch the resolutions. Oh yeah, it doesn't like non-text in there. I don't even know what this XAML is supposed to be. XAML button page. Whoa, that is not what I was expecting. Where? Oh, I clicked on that link. Links work. Don't click on the link. I have no real back button. All right, so now if I go to this page, that was the button one. I just want to see, oh, I need XAMLs. It only works on XAMLs. Where are all XAMLs? That something got off. Presentation code. Oh no, it can't press, huh. It's not updating the rendering now anyway. All right, well, we got somewhere with it. I'm excited we got it showing stuff. That was fun. Actually, I want to go back to the other ones and see if it fixes it. Nope, I got it in a broken state, and I have no idea what I broke. It could be my, isn't that updating anymore? Oh, I bet, let's reload it. I bet it got off from when we went forward and back a page. I bet that really confused it. Nope, it's still broken. Okay, we could stop and start it and maybe it'll work again with a shot. Yeah, it just needed to stop and restart. I don't know what got off. It lost connection somehow. It could have been, yeah, it's not meant to navigate. That navigation really messed us up. So don't navigate. Hey, and this blows up. It does not know converters. So something with mine's wrong. But either way, really cool to show that it works, and yeah, exciting. All right, let's jump over and let's work on gMusic some more now. I just really wanted to build some tools and play with some tools and show how they work. And gMusic's at a really interesting state right now. And we just used a new tool anyway just to clean up my cells. Actually, should I build that? Yeah, we might use it again. Let's do it. All right, so let's run. It was under forms. I need to, and then we'll build this extension. Oh, I closed the terminal. Okay, never mind. I don't feel like typing that command out. I'm too lazy for that. We're just going to jump to gMusic. Or we can, I just need to build forms again. let's just build forms again. So that way we can just launch that if we need it, because we don't need to debug it. And we can always debug the extension with gMusic, because gMusic's small and doesn't care. It doesn't freak out like that. Okay, perfect. Let's build this one more time. Now we have two different previewers, and since the IDE extension is the server, we can actually load both of them and see what they both look like, which is kind of cool. Gotta kill that one because it's talking to the wrong port. But yeah, we can just switch between them two and see them both if we want, and see where Frank does better than me. But it's not scary to extend the Visual Studio IDE. It's really nice that it is extensible, and you can do things like that to interact with your code or interact with anything in unique, interesting ways. And there's lots of really fun things you can do there. The shirt that I'm wearing, I don't know if we still have any of these shirts. Dave might, but I don't know. These are old. I have lots of old shirts, so the joys of being on this team forever. Okay, we're back to the slow build times on that. Almost done though. Almost done. At least the gMusic builds are a lot faster. My CPU is completely pegged too, so I think it's opening and loading so many of those solutions. I am doing more than what most do. Okay, so we're now using the right port on that one. And it's trying to connect and can't. Good. We can jump back to that if we want. Okay, perfect. So, where were we on this? I remember as we were building this before, we got lots of the UI figured out, and the UI is looking pretty good. Pretty good. There's some ugly there. Definitely still some things we need to fix. I haven't done the now playing screen yet. Oh, let me bump up my font size since I'm back into a new solution. Okay, XAML stays, that's good. Okay, and I have two simulators. I'm gonna kill one because I don't know why I have two. Go die, simulator. Go away. All right, so it's coming along nicely. I haven't done anything with our styles yet and coloring, and that's all funny. Those cells look a lot better. That had been bugging me. We need to do icons and clean that stuff up. What else? What other screens? We haven't done any of the search stuff, and the search is really important. Oh, I have some to-dos in there about the API management. I want to go through and clean that stuff up because I want that to look a lot nicer. We have some navigation going in the artists. Get that cell disposed thing sometimes. I really need to get that filed with forms. Actually, I wonder if we hook up the form source and debug that. That could be fun. I'm wondering, is that actually could be fun. Something with the data binding, I know it is. Just trying to remember where that's at. It's something where something data binds with an off screen. Now I can't produce it. Genres. Genres don't navigate. The genre navigation stuff's a little complicated, so that'll be fun to build out. I don't have any playlists on this account. Albums are not navigating yet. Okay, so there's some UI stuff we can do. I want to work on making this image smaller. This one does not have the old gMusic. Let me, simulator has the old gMusic, I think. And the X does, or did I update and get all new stuff? Let's just do this to launch the simulator and I'll see if I find one that has the old one on it. No, we'll just install the old one. Doesn't take that long. Okay. Takes longer to boot the simulator. All right, so I want to jump in and I want to deal stuff with my API manager a little bit. So if we go back to the architecture of this thing, I use managers to deal with lots of things. And right now, inside of our base view model, we're just creating our API is static in there. And I did that just as a placeholder There's a couple problems with that. It doesn't save all of the data that I would like it to, and it doesn't allow us to choose which accounts to log into. It doesn't allow us to log into multiple Google accounts. We're just kind of stuck with, hey, Google, we're stuck with this one. And you can't even log out. There's lots of things that aren't done yet. That reminds me, we still need the settings screen so we can interact and log into new accounts and remove them and things like that. Okay, so let's do the API manager so I can clean up this ugly. We'll start with that. I'm probably just going to grab the old one from the old code and just hope it's good and works. gMusic, that's going to be in the shared code. Managers, API manager. And I have no idea what's going to come along with this or what else it's going to need. Wasn't planning on doing this today, but it's driving me nuts, so I need to. Okay, so it has all of these, of course, the namespace change we did. This one, gMusic supports lots of APIs. We only have Google right now, so we're going to remove that. And I do have this little dictionary at the top just to deal with what types go with which ones, so it can instantiate them, because it does have to instantiate them. We're not doing YouTube yet. We'll bring these other ones in later. Okay. All of this loading stuff. Okay, that's not going to work for now. We'll bring that back when we're ready. What I do is on iOS, I look at your iPod, and so you can play local music as well as what you're streaming from. So you can use it just for local music. You don't even have to log in to use it. And I do the same thing on your Mac. I look at what's in iTunes. And I have a way for you to point to a folder, but I never expose that in UI or anything. So you can have it just watch a folder as well. Okay, app.show not implemented. I haven't done that yet. I like that because I put this so I know what's not implemented. But we're just going to, let's build that. Public static void. Funny, we haven't ran into that yet. And then I also grabbed the call stack on that. Let's look at the old one. The old one was cool because I had the whole call stack on there. So that way I would know and I could log it, and I would log that if it ever happened inside right here. So if it ever happened inside of my app, I would know about it and something I really cared about. I'm not the biggest fan of Prism or the MVVM pattern. If you've watched any of my stuff in the past, you'll notice in some cases it's a bit overkill. It's useful for some things. There's only two places where I really do this type of lookup. It's in my API manager and then my playback. So which audio playback to use. It's the only place I do that, so bringing in something heavy like Prism's a bit overkill for it. I know a Prism's still light, but I mean, my last episode I went through and deleted most of my view models. So that kind of makes bringing in Prism a moot point. And also doing it more than that, it's not just a straight, well, it is the typed type here. I've used Prism, but yeah. It's not needed for what I'm doing here. And it's not complex. I meant it's more than I need. Because all I'm doing is a simple lookup for this one types. I don't need it for all my navigation and things like that. So it would only be in these two small places. So, in here, I need to create these, and I actually need to pass in some stuff into it. So having Prism create my objects wouldn't work either. So it would work just for that type mapping, but at that point, why bring in anything over a dictionary when all I'm doing is a type mapping? So, because it needs to create them and pass in, what it needs to do is it creates an API and then also creates the provider that goes with it and passes that provider into the API. Prism can't, I don't believe Prism can do that type of a nested inflation. So it's really, yeah, it's not that crazy, but yeah. All right, so let's throw my not implemented in and throw that into here. We'll go there. Now we have this show not implemented. So things I really like about this is I put in these caller member attributes. That way, wherever this is called, I can see exactly which line of code called it and in what file. So when this report gets alerted, when this report comes up, um, yeah, it's only in this one file though. I get what you're saying, but in this one file, I'm not going to bring the library for one file. It's just not my style. Um, I can walk through exactly what that thing does, and it's really simple. So, and it's the only thing in my app that does that. It's one place it has to do that association. So, um, let me. Oh, I don't have. Oh, I do have log implemented already brought over. Perfect. All right. So now, actually, we don't have to. I had a show alert since this was for native apps, whereas here we can just do current. They should just do the static void string title string message. All right. And here we'll go current dot what is it? It's current page or page. I'm trying to remember. App.main page. There we go. Dot display action sheet. And inside of here we'll just do title. Isn't there a message option as well? I thought there was two options on the action sheet. No, there's not. All right, well, we'll just concatenate them then for now. Look at what I want to do about that later. So title and then message. All right, perfect. And then we need to go cancel and destructive. I hate those. I just want like an OK. Okay, this is not what I want. There's an alert. I'm almost positive. Print.main page display alert. That's the one I was thinking of, and that takes the title message. Much better. Title message. Okay. Actually, I'm going to use strings.ok. Yes, I've thought about playing with XAML as well. The XAML, it's not quite as live though. Not live, because it does prevent the preview, so it's not doing it live. I was toying with actually playing with with hot reload, and there's two of them. There's the hot reload, and then I thought I had a tab open for XAML. I had one open, but I was going to look at using both of those as well. But I decided to jump into some of the app building. So maybe next time I'll play with installing both of those and playing with them. So yes, definitely I played with them. Oh, I can make this screen bigger. Window sizes are not saving. All right. And now string go. I think I have strings. I think in my localizations I have an OK. Yay! I want to make sure we keep things localized. Yes, this coming soon is not. I don't have that localized, but oh well. And that should never display in an app anyway. I'm okay with it not being localized. Okay. So now if it ever happens, we'll get the data saying, hey, here's the source file. We're going to log it. I haven't added App Center yet, but we're going to add App Center in there. And that's an exception I look for. It better not happen. I really don't want it ever happening because I somehow exposed something that doesn't exist. Okay, I don't need that create YouTube stuff. We'll just comment that out for right now. Oh, I haven't implemented my spinner yet either. All right, we're just going to fake add this for right now. Inside of my helpers, I like to have a class called spinner. And what's really cool about the spinner is I just make it an iDisposable. And then on dispose, I tell it to stop. So I would deal with presenting it and not presenting it. And I also think I tell you to put do I do text in there? I allow you to put text in there. So string title, and now let's add the dispose. I like this pattern a lot because what I can do is I can, at my app level, keep track of these. And I will just say app show the spinner, app dismiss the spinner. I can keep track of how many of them are, but my backend code can just deal with those. Hey, I want a spinner showed up. And it doesn't have to ever invoke with the UI. For now, I'm not even going to hook this thing up. So Let's initialize the title and property. We'll put that there. And then we're just going to leave it as that right now. Let's put in a to-do, make this thing work for real. And yeah, that'll be good for now. We'll fix that later. I can show you the old one if that's actually interesting to people. I think it's under helpers, spinner. Yep, right in helpers. It just does app show spinner, app dismiss spinner. And then on the native side, because I was doing this on iOS, I hooked into that app delegate there. And I would say show spinner. Aha, on app show spinner, I was using BT progress HUD. And I would just pop up and show it and then dismiss it. So works really nice to be able to hook in anywhere, and the app just works. So we'll figure that out later. For now, we'll just go with that. It doesn't actually need to show anything. And I'm going to remove it from the helpers namespace because I'm lazy like that. All right, perfect. Now let's see what else I didn't implement in the API manager, and I can clean that thing up a little bit. Okay, the rest of it all works. Nope, not the service types, because none of those exist yet. I should just put API.serviceType on it, so that way I can just don't have to do that. But yeah, just return the type. Got the Google one there. Okay, this should build now. Oh, you're gone. Joys of all the legacy code, bringing it over. Now, what's cool about this is from here, my old login screen. This has the start sync that I can always call start sync from here. And I was thinking about in here actually putting a delay on there so I can have a force resync and then a non-force resync just like as I'm navigating around. Because what I do is I tell it to sync all of the current ones all over the place as you navigate, which is cool and all because you want to keep it live and up to date, but I do that too much. I really do. Let's go to my tasks really quick because I know I have some to-dos to bring stuff. Oh, where did that go? Whoa. Tasks. All right, so when I pinned that, add spinner back. I just did that, so let's bring that back. Spinner's back. It doesn't work, but it's back. All right. That stuff can come back. Okay, I'm not using YouTube, not going to bring that back. Bring this back when the API manager is live. All right, so this is going to deal with saving that data. So that way, what I do is I save along with my user information as I sync, I save this API data. What this saved data does is it just serializes this class that has like last songs, the playlist syncs, and just all that extra data I need to know what state the syncing's in. So after it's done syncing, save that so that way it can be loaded back. So I got that back. Handle other providers, we'll leave that there. What else do I have with the, clean this up. All right, we can kill that guy. You're dead. No more. Now I'm gonna need to do something to log in because my login stuff doesn't quite exist anymore. Now we'll do await. No, I already have that. API manager dot share dot sync start sync. Now what I want to do, we'll do it now. Why not? All right. Let's just throw in here date time dot last sync. And then equals datetime.min. So it'll always do it on start. Now we'll put in here bool force refresh equals false. We're going to say, hey, don't force refresh. So if not force refresh and datetime.now minus last sync. Let's put some parentheses in here. Total seconds is greater than 5. No, it's less than 5. We'll do is less than 5, return. Every 5 seconds. Sounds about right. That's still a lot of refreshing. And then we'll set that to there. Let's move that to here. All right, perfect. So now we won't refresh like crazy as we're navigating around. I think I've got most of these other ones done. That, delete, deal with that later. Bring back another save API. Let's bring that back. So while syncing again, I just save these things. Okay, that's back. I have another one. I save this thing all over the place. So that's when the radio syncs and now it knows where that's at. Nope, radio stations aren't back yet. Okay, I think I have most of my API stuff done now. Now, the big thing's going to be it's not going to have any APIs to sync. And the API manager inherently won't just add them because I want you to be able to work without any. So I want to double check how I did this in my old one. Let's create a login screen or a welcome screen. So we'll add a new view, add new SAML page, do forms content page. And the welcome page is really simple. The old one, iOS views, call that welcome page. Should I not call it welcome page? Call it intro page. Close. All right. Title of welcome, and I'm not using the strings. That's bad. All right. So it has the login task, and we're going to take a lot of this. All right. All right. Yeah, my Boolean was kind of lamely named, just include ICO. We'll look at that in a second when we come over here. All right, so inside of here, I have a login task, which is going to not work because it's all iOS specific code. But it'll show you the service picker. In this case, we're just going to do Google because that's all we have. Music.data, this.dismiss, or navigation dismiss, right? Pop modal. There we go. Pop, not dismiss. And we're always going to show this puppy as a modal. This dot title equals strings using. I think I have a dot welcome. I do. Lame. Oh no, it's just I have welcome and then I have the welcome text. So if we go back to the old one had an image and text. So it had, I did use, it's funny, I used the welcome in one spot but not the other. And then the button saying, hey, come log in or skip. All right, so let's build this page out. We have that. Let's do a stack layout. All right, wow, am I typing extra stuff? Okay, so format that. So inside of here, we're going to have a label and another one, label, and I can't remember the syntax. I know I can bind directly to that strings thing. I can't remember what that is off the top of my head. Layout. Inside of here, we'll do orientation equals horizontal, and that one's going to be vertical. All right. So we have our stack panel. We're going to do a button, and this one is going to be x name login, and the clicked. Okay, did it add it for me? That was silly. I'm gonna do it and then not do it. Actually, I don't want to name it that anyway. So public void login clicked. Object sender and argz. This one. Okay, so now let's do one more of these buttons, and this one will be skip. Let's copy and paste this and rename it. Okay. Contains that. Oh, that's saying I'm not actually waiting anything. Not use these. We'll do a service picker later. You have to click and then enter the position. Okay, I thought I did, but oh well, did that wrong. It didn't show me the line. It used to show a line and I could enter up and down. I thought it did. All right, so we're gonna uncomment these, because now we'll do this API manager. Let's add that. Create and login. All it needs is a type. So inside of here, API service type, we're going to say Google, since it's the only one we support right now. And then this dot navigation dot pop modal async. Okay. Why is it saying I have skip? I'm just going to build this and see if it knows what it's talking about. Oh, no, I named those buttons skip, and that's it. I see the issue. Yeah, the new editor is amazing. It's a learning curve for us all, but I like it. Okay. Wait, public async, and then that. Now in here, we're just gonna say await login. I'm really excited that it's gonna share some of the same API, that it does share the same APIs as VS for Windows, so I can actually write some of these and only write it once and only learn one API. That's what really excites me. All right, so this dot login button dot text equals strings dot login. Strings dot login, and then skip button dot text equals strings dot skip. So nice having localizations done for me. Sorry, all you guys who don't have people that do them for you. Ask, your followers will help. So nice. All right, label. Does anyone remember the syntax is to tell it to just grab from a static? I don't know. We're just gonna do an X name because I'm lazy. I'll look this up and maybe fix it later because I can bind straight to that strings. I just can't remember where. Header, and then X name text. Good enough for now. All right. So now header dot text equals strings dot welcome, and then header dot text. Oh no. Text equals strings dot. This is right. Okay, so now on my app, we're going to go back to my app page and we're going to do something differently. On our root page, what we're going to do when we create this root page, we have created it. Now what we're going to do is if API manager, I can ask the API manager how many it has. I think I can. Count is less than or equal to 0, or okay, equal to 0. Oh, thank you for, okay. Thank you very much, President, for sending me over that text. I will update that. Very useful. I can never remember that syntax though. And settings dot is settings dot iPod only, and not. Actually, I'll just do this, is greater than 0, or return. Now what we can do is we can do root.navigation dot push modal. What is it? Push modal, there we go. New welcome page, which we shouldn't have any because I don't have any. Now let's run this again. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Finalize processing. What's it complaining about? What's that at? Oh, is this something? I brought that back, didn't I? That was commented out and I brought it back. Let's leave it out for right now. Just blanketly blanket on a commenting code. Problematic. Okay, let's run it. Hey, first seeing the two simulators, I'm like, what's wrong with my screen? Okay, that is much better. It's not really that bad. All right, welcome to gMusic. Actually, I only need one. I only need the header. I don't need both. Login, skip, or login. Now the problem is since I click skip, I have no way of unsetting that since I don't have a setting screen. Why did I click skip? Okay, we're gonna go back to code. And skip button works, guys. Super exciting. But yes, let's remove that skip check. So let's bring it back after I log back in. All right, so let's run this thing. We should now get our ugly login page and we should fix it because the old login page was really pretty. Why? Why? How do I better not have any? Count is 1. Which one do we have? Now I'm confused. Okay, so let's go into here where this thing fills out. Collection gets... Okay, there's one place it gets added. It hits the settings, and it says for each of them, go create that API. And then that gets saved into theirs. So inside of create API, that gets called there. All right, let's debug. I have no idea how clicking cancel gave us one. Oh, I don't know. I don't even know how that worked. I did something silly in there. And why didn't we hit breakpoints? Oh. Because I was nice. I was nice to myself. And I said, if, say that there is one even though there's not. I am too nice to myself. So I only had to check the count. I forgot I did that. That way, if they turned off the iPod, even though they said only use the iPod, it would still break. Any of those. There we go. Any parentheses. Run again. Okay, so that means I don't have to have that in the welcome page or that root page. I don't even need that extra check because that's not needed since I take care. Oh, code. So we're just going to delete that, press play. We have our welcome screen again. So let's clean this guy up some. All right, so on the welcome page, what I did before was I centered a bunch of this stuff, kind of centered. I had the top stuff and then the bottom stuff with a bunch of padding. So padding equals like 20. nice and big. This header, we're gonna for now say font size equals like 30. Actually, I only need the header. We're gonna delete that one. And then let's go back to here. The last one was always presented in a modal with the navigation, and so I might do that so I didn't need all that. Let's do that. Let's now also go to the root that's in the root page. Root page, we'll say navigation page. These are just pretty when they're wrapped in those modals. Centers. Oh, let me finish cleaning this up some first before I run it. All right, so now it's in a modal. We have a title set. We'll have the welcome and the nice little header thing there. We have a stack layout, which is horizontal options, end and expand. We'll just say end. No, it's vertical options I want. Vertical options end. These two are going to make these horizontal options equals center and expand. We're going to do that on both of them. It might make them ugly, but we're going to do prettier buttons for them anyway because they're kind of ugly as they are. Okay, let's see if that looks better. Still not the screen I need. Hey, I wanted that to go to the bottom though. And that should not wrap. Did I put too much of it? That should still fit. Okay, either way, we're going with it for now. Welcome to gMusic. I click login. Yes, login screen appears. Now I'm going to blur you guys for a second. Be right back. Let me type in some stuff. Log into this account. All right, we're back. Okay, it's now adding it. I'm at the breakpoint that broke. I just clicked login. Click next. Oh, my screen did disappear. Yes. And it would have done the login spinner thing, but my spinner is not really hooked up. Sweet. Which error is that? Index out of range. List view render. Which index is out of range? Is that coming from my stuff? I'm unsure on that. I'm hoping it doesn't have to do with me dismissing and presenting that UI, but we're already far enough in. It shouldn't have been. Oh, see if I can do that again. I may have to, might be adding a settings screen with a logout, so that way we can do this. Oh wait, this was the one I thought that might have the gap, but my simulator is locked up. Die simulator. Not needed. Let's restart the simulator. Happens to all of us. Okay, so coming together, we now have the API manager that makes sure we're logged in. Logged in, and it presents the welcome screen. Maybe I don't save things like I was supposed to. Let me one more time. Right, we're back, and it's logged in. Thing dismissed. Now I'm gonna stop and start to make sure it doesn't do that to me again. If it does, something's wrong in the API manager. But it crashed last time, so it could have not done something right. Something's not right. Yay, let's go debugging. Okay, so actually, yeah, something's not right because the API manager never called the thing to load itself. Where does it do that at? So I never call load. I should do that. That's funny. I make myself call load. Why don't I just load it when it is created? I don't know. That's a good question for myself. Why did I do that? I am not going to. I'm just going to say, hey, whenever you access it, public API manager load. What can go wrong, right? Does it asynchronously too, so. Although oh wait, create YouTube is the only thing that was async in there. Oh, do I already have that somewhere? And if I do, why do I have it twice? I am blind. Did I really have it right above it and didn't notice? Okay, let's do that. So one question on that static stuff though, I'm gonna have to do something to point to the assembly. I'm gonna have to reference the assembly inside the stuff first though, I think. All right, yay! Create API. All right, now we're creating APIs. So what were you gonna ask, Sweeky? We now have accounts, so we're not going to display our welcome screen, and it's good. I like it. I like it a lot. A lot, a lot. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, I thought I crashed. Yeah, I'm not getting that same list exception again. I really wonder what index was out of range. Didn't say. Okay. Sweet. We're getting somewhere. Got a welcome screen so you can log in or not log in based on it, so I don't just always force that. I don't know why I like the welcome screen. I like the option to skip so you're not just telling them, oh well, you're on your own. Okay. So we have artist done. Maybe we can work on, I wonder what page we want to work on next. I almost want to work on this now playing stuff. Oh, yeah, I just didn't even notice that constructor. I am blind sometimes. Glad you noticed. Okay, so David, if you're still here, we need to get this thing filed because this is driving me nuts. This table view cell. Now playing screen? All right, Sweeky has spoken. Now playing screen. Okay, now playing page. It is a CS. We're going to switch it to be XAML, and I think I'm going to do it. Trying to think of the right way I'm doing it. Hey, Kim, thanks for joining. I'm trying to think how I want to do it. I think I'm going to do it as a XAML page. I think I'm going to do an absolute layout because let's look at it really quick. This is a complicated page, so it's a really exciting one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this, it's not tall enough. It needs to be taller, for one. So it needs to be about right here. And what's sitting right here, it needs to have album artwork and the title and album and then a play button. Maybe it's this, no, I like it bigger. I like it about right here. So it's going to be bigger and that part's just going to be hovering there. Now when we scroll it up, this whole screen needs to change. And it needs to be that nice big playback with all the playback controls and album artwork and all that fun stuff. Or if it's playing a video, actually have the video where the album artwork goes. So I'm going to need to make this top part fade away. Yeah. All right. This will be fun. Okay, so, and we're also going to need to make it dynamically change based off that scrolling. So that's going to, yeah, it's interesting. All right, so we are going to kill this thing. Goodbye, now playing page. Actually, I'm going to copy the name so I don't have to type it again. Since I'm going to do this from apps, I'm going to do it all in XAML. I think I can do it all in XAML. Very dynamic page. So we will have two things. Add new file, add new XAML content page. Page. All right, I'm a little nervous, a little scared. All right, now how do I do that? On the slide up panel, I have a height. Nope, wrong one. Slide up panel. I have an overhang and it's set at 50 right now. So I'm gonna need to do something to make this, let's set it at 60 and see what it looks like. And it might be different on iOS versus Android, so what was it on the old one? That's a good question. Let's go look at the old code. On iOS, I had a root view controller, I think is where that lived. That held the bottom panel. In the root view controller, root view, that's all the flick velocity stuff. Get overhang. Right, the overhang was dynamic based on, I forgot I did that. So I made it to where you could dock this up about right here, and so you'd have like a little mini playback control versus the full screen controls. So we'll see if I want to do that again. It was cool, but I don't know how useful it was. Yes, this is an app I'm porting to Xamarin.Forms. It's a really high performance app. It has to be. It holds like 20,000 songs and smooth scrolling and all that stuff. So yes, I've ported it to both before, but now I'm going to do it in Forms because Forms is awesome. All right, top bar height was set to 54. So that still looks small on here though. Am I respecting that? Let's put it to something really high. Maybe I'm not respecting that in the custom renderers. Am I considering flex layout? Yes, I need to read up more on the flex layout. Can flex layout do what I'm trying to do? Some of the stuff. I know I want to do some of the stuff for like the albums page could look really cool with that. Do you have any suggestions on using flex layout and where I should use it with this? Because I'm always open to suggestions. I'm kind of old school and I use what I already know, and some of what I already know is, well, old. So not amazing. Background color equals blue. Let's put this back to blue. So yes, if you guys have tips on how to do things, I will do things differently, if it makes sense to me and if I agree with it. So okay, I'll let you read up on that. I like this. Someone to go read docs for me. Okay, so on the now playing page, we were doing, I was going to set it really high on the slide up panel just to make sure I'm using that. So let's do like 300. We should have a really big blue box now. I think I'm going to do an absolute, so what I'm thinking is I'm going to do an absolute layout, and I have two different layouts in that. I'm going to have the top one, and then I'm going to have one that sits behind it. And I'm going to adjust the opacity of that top little one. Okay, I'm respecting it. That top little one based on percent visible. And then maybe dynamically change the bottom layout based off that. That's what I did in the old ones. The bottom layout would just do all kinds of funny things as you brought it up and down. So the old one was 54. So, let's go with that. 54 sounds good. So our now playing page, let's go in here and we're going to do absolute layout. Throw that in there. So it's auto aligned. Okay, absolute layout, and we're going to start with a frame. Okay, going by my description, we're trying to do flex layout says because it includes flexible options to arrange children within the layout. So the flexible layout might be really cool for the now playing the background stuff. Or I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna have to read up on that. It might work with what I want to do. Let's just start here with I'm trying to think of the right layout to just make it a box. Because the stack layout will want to expand and do stuff. No, I can make the stack layout do that. Okay, so now I have to remember how to do the absolute layout stuff. Absolute layout flags equals none. Am I not getting autocomplete? Maybe that goes here. No, because I want this thing to be manual layout. All right, let's bring up some docs. I can never remember these things. Yes, to the docs. I helped write half these tools and I still can't remember how to use them. So it's very, very normal. Okay, perfect. So I want to do, that's kind of what I was doing. I was doing the layout flags, but I want that at none. Okay, IntelliSense failed me. I was on the right track. All right, so absolute layout flags, I want it on none. The thing is, with that, none tells it no, I'm not gonna do none on this one. One of them lets me say how many points exactly, because I don't want proportional, so I want none. The hard thing on that is I want its width to be proportional, but I want its height not to be. Oh, okay. So right here, I can say x proportional. That's the one I want. And then I can do layout bounds, and I can't remember the order these go in. Does anyone remember the order on that? Is it? All right, well, let's look at this blue box. Or this, what's the blue one? Okay, absolute layout bounds. It's 1, so it's at the top. Oh, I can't remember. What's the order? Let's just new up the rectangle in C# code, because then it'll tell us. Is it left, top, bottom, right? Let's find out. Moment of truth. X, Y. Okay, yes. So I'll just say 0, 0. Yeah, 0, 0. Width will be 1. Height will be 54. Okay, we got it. So we will do 0, 0. Width was 1, 54. I think that's right. And then background color equals, let's go fuchsia on this puppy. And let's hope this looks right. Oh, kill my rectangle. So useful having you guys here to help. Thank you. I should do all my coding this way. Fuchsia. Okay, that one was not right. It probably needs to be 100. Because that was just 1 pixel. Okay, and that'll give us a stack layout that's always on top at that set thing. We will make it exposable so that way our slide out will tell what's being presented to change based on percentage visible. No, why is it making me log back in? I already logged in. Okay, that is not right. Did I do the wrong? Maybe it's y proportional. No, x proportional should be right. Any thoughts on that? Let's change this. Let's see what happens. This is one where bringing up my little preview thing would be really useful again because it does use the layout right. That didn't change a thing. Ducks. Okay, so that's saying if I say x proportional or x proportional, interprets the x's, that will treat the others as, oh, I do need it x proportional, right? Not y, because I want the white. Can I tell it, I don't want the size proportional. This is tricky, tricky. Oh, it tells you right here, bounds are x, y, height, width. I should have read the docs. I wonder if it can do what I want it to do. I tried the one. We can try it again. Oops, wrong screen. Yeah, I'd started with the 1, and the 100 changed it. The 1 was a sliver. So I want the x proportional. That's what I had it at. So just the x values. But I don't know what else to put that at. specified in here. So they were saying that label's centered. So what did they do to center it? Because that might give us clues. Centered, 0.5. So it's all based off of 1 should have been fine. Problem is, it still treated that value not as proportional. Maybe it just did x, but not width. Do you think, yeah, it just says the x. Width proportional. Let's try that one. I think that's the magic, guys. Oops, almost open. Okay, let's go back to here. No Slack, I don't want you. All right, so let's do width proportional, but this is 1, and I think that's it. I missed that width proportional. Okay, run, run, run. I'm excited, it worked, yes. So we now have our bar, which is always there. Nice and pink, exactly what we wanted. I'm gonna actually, let's launch one more instance of, and we're gonna do, let's launch the old one, just so we can see how it looks, because it's nice having that reference, and we'll just do in 2 different simulators. And then try it out. All right, so these 2 different ones, let's run this one. Oh, that's the OS version. We want the iOS version. Which one are we using? We're using the XRX. Let's turn just to XS. Okay, that way we can have 2 simulators side by side. So that slide up, I went over that in like the first video, but I'm doing it by doing 2 master details. All of this code is public and on GitHub, so you can dig through it and play with it. But what I've done is I have a, well, that's loading. So much prettier. Look at that welcome screen. That's what I want to rebuild, because that's just beautiful. Actually, that's the old gMusic. gMusic.forms is the new one that's in Forms. So, wow, that's nice. All right. So it's not flex layout. So here we go. So right now I do an image here, artist, album, artwork. Yeah, why is that one so much bigger at 54? Doesn't map up exactly right with iOS pixels and points and stuff. I'm wondering what calculation we're doing for that. Oh, I know why. Because it's 54 minus the safe area. I mean, plus the safe area. I lay it out above the safe area. So I'm cheating. Right. So I need to account for that. Safe area is what? Another 20 pixels? Yeah, the Forms one's not as, Forms one's new. It's like what, 4 weeks old? 3 weeks old? So, okay, so we'll do a safe area here, or we'll account for that. But the sidebar, and if we jump back over to the code, I'll just point to it really quick. I have this slide up panel, which is a master detail, and then I do a custom renderer on iOS and Android. And if you notice that my root page does something really funky, it does the create the iOS and the Android one differently because the master detail how they have to work. And so I explained that in one, I think my first video, I explained that. Maybe the second one when I had to explain that one. So yeah. Okay, so let's jump over and let's make that slide up panel. Let's go 70. Why not? We'll make it nice and big. So it's really big there. We have our now playing XAML. We have our beautiful pink. What we'll do is, let's grid this. This is a grid, not a stack. And now that we have it right, that will work. Okay. And then what we'll do is we're going to go columns. It's just going to be a 1 column. And we're going, actually, not do that. Column definition. We're going to do this. I wonder if we should do them. We're just going to specify the width is like 30. Column definition with star. You get all the space. Column definition with, just say another 30 there. I don't know if those numbers are going to be right. We could cheat and look at the old one and see, get some now playing controller. I had the top bar height, 54. This had, like I said, it did lots of really fancy things. So the now playing bar, image width, and the button width. So yeah, 25 for that, and I had them both set 5 pixel padding around them, so that's pretty close. I actually might need to bump this one up a little bit more. And inside of here, we will now say, we're just going to say image for now. That's going to be actually, we are going to use the same thing from over in the genre cell. Suppose you could make them auto. What do you mean by I can make them auto? Oh yeah, I could, but I want them consistent. I like the consistency because if that thing moves, it'll look funny. And I want padding, so I'm going to center things and pad them. So because of that, it could look funny if I auto them. Plus, setting them to a specific width instead of auto is a lot faster. Not that this is a complicated page to matter, but in the back of my mind, I've always got that nagging performance. How is this going to work? Okay, so let's grab this FF image loading stuff. Still wish I didn't have to do all this every time. Okay, so we're going to jump over to the now playing bar. Let's throw all this ugly stuff up here. Let's go grab all this code so I don't have to rewrite it. Probably about the right size too. Yeah, my goal with this is still to have it really performant and really be able to run I want it to look pretty close to the same as the native one and have comparable performance. And I really think that's possible. Why do I have that? That's ugly code. I had a slash there. Oh, adding slash auto adds a ending, but I already had an ending there. Oh, weird. Okay, so we've got our image and it's going to auto go to the right one. After that, we'll do a stack layout, and inside of there, we are going to go, let's do grid dot, no, I want a column. Put you into 1. And then we'll do a button. We're just going to say play. This is going to be a fancy button. We're going to do a custom one to swap the images out based on the playback state. But for now, we'll just say play. And we're going to put you into column dot. That's not alphabetical either. It goes to row. 2. All right. Stack layout. We will do label, and this one we're gonna need to do styles at some point because I don't want to keep redoing all these colors and fonts and all that fun stuff. So we'll do a label here, a label here, and then this one is just going to be the artist one. We need to deal with data binding and how we're going to do that yet because I haven't figured that out yet. So we'll deal with that. We'll need to do a view model for this one for sure. Text equals, for now, we'll just go with, why not? I like Blink-182 as if you can't tell. Text, and 82, and I think I also then do the album. No, I can't remember. We can check. No, it's not that one. Oh, am I debugging? Oh, I had 2 of them open. Right, I did do 2 of them open. So inside the iOS view controllers, now playing view controller. Now playing view controller also is a collection view, so you can swipe left and right. So it's really complicated. We'll get it to that point. I forgot about the swiping. Totally forgot about that. So set current song. Footer. No, I want the header, not it'd be called the footer. The footer is the bottom area. Artist album. Yeah, that's not. Oh, right. Not the right one. I have the now playing top bar, which is different. I thought it was different. I have a top bar somewhere. Oh, it's called playback bar. It's its own control. I forgot I did that. I think I did that. The controls playback bar or something like that. Now I can't even remember where I put that thing. Thought there was a playback bar at the top. Because the playback bar doesn't move with the swiping. Play button always stays there. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look it up and see. There's all the time stuff being set. All the accessibility, yeah, because I'm gonna want to deal with that where I set the accessibility stuff based on the button state. I can't find it. Oh well, we're just gonna go with artist right now. Later we can swap it over. All right, so now if I run this, there I be. We'll check and see if this preview is working. Does on, I'm not setting a view model, so that one might let that load up. Might be able to edit in there. Okay, and then I should see if it does. We'll do the. Not that it matters because I'm hard coding it anyway. On. Okay, I'm not gonna get that to load right now. Give me an output. I don't know. Okay, so let's go on without that. Let's dash this in there. Yeah, they're making lots of good progress on it. The team really is doing a lot, and it's got a lot of enhancements, but it's getting there. Okay, oh, I don't have any of this DTech stuff done. Darn it. Okay, we're gonna remove you for now. Delete a lot, delete a lot, delete a lot. Okay, and then I also need this one gone since I'm not doing any of that. It'll be great when the templates have that included in by default. And that new page would have had it. All right. Run this. Okay. That's looking good. I adjusted the overall height, which is not quite, it's off by about 5 or 6 pixels. But, you know, that's getting there. That artwork, this needs to be centered because that looks really funny. So let's, horizontal options equals center and expand, let you take all your space, and then horizontal options center. Oh, I need not just horizontal options, I need to do, what is it, text, vertical, horizontal text alignment equals center. We'll just put that on both. And we're getting somewhere. I might call that good for the day. Getting about the time that I was thinking of being done streaming. We got a lot done today. We went through a lot of tooling. We went through a lot of stuff with the UI. We fixed up these cells so they're actually looking nice. This now playing screen starting to come together. We need to hook into the custom renderer to say what % visible it is. So that way, oh, that's funny. I can drag it up higher. That's really funny. Okay, I need to fix my custom renderer so I can't drag it up higher than. Oh, it lets you drag it up. That's right, because my old one I would dock it to where that was just off screen. So it lets you drag it up that high. So I need to fix the custom renderer. You can't drag it up that high. But yeah, that's looking good. We'll add the artwork in here. I'll do the loading stuff like I did. Actually, let's grab that really quick. I want to see what it looks like with that. And then horizontal options equals center. And then let's do that, and we'll be good for now. Okay, we're gonna do the same. We're just gonna. Okay, not sure what that was. Okay, I think I just crashed Visual Studio. All right, I think it's my cue. I am at the end of my time. So either way, I'm going to add that image in there and then probably push that code up. Yeah, it's telling me it's time. So we'll throw that image in there, and then at that point we will, I'll be able to see what that'll look like with having that default artwork image in there. So thanks everyone again for joining. It's always fun. If there's stuff you want to see, I like the participation. Thanks, Wiki, for telling me what to work on next. But there's a lot to do in this, so sometimes I can't even make up my own mind where I want to go next. So ask questions. Maybe next time I'll throw in some of the open source hot reloading technology stuff so we can play with the XAML reloading and actually edit some of that a little bit more efficiently. But thanks everyone for your time. And if you have questions, ask me afterwards. Let me know of the stuff you want me to look at or work on, and I will steer this the way that's exciting for you guys. So thank you everyone, and I'll talk to you guys later.